we hear stories from parents who are just so desperate. Their kids are out of control. Sometimes the teens are defiant, verbally aggressive, physically aggressive, and it's just so challenging as a parent. There's this desperation and a feeling of nowhere to turn. Today, I'm here with Sue Scheff, founder of Parents Universal Resource Experts, Inc. p.u.r.e. was founded in 2001. Since that time, p.u.r.e. has provided over 100,000 families with valuable information and resources for their at-risk children and teens. So Sue, you have your own experience with your daughter. She started out as a young gymnast, and she was very committed to it. And after a terrible injury, she could no longer go back to the sport she loved. And once she lost her identity as a gymnast, her life started to spiral out of control. That's where you stepped in to try and figure out how to go from that moment to get back the daughter you knew before. So can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
With my daughter, it was this gymnast who her whole life was dedicated to the gym from the time she was 6 years old to the time she made nationals at 13 years old, and then she broke her foot. At 14 years old, her goals and dreams were pretty much diminished. So who is she? She started hanging out with the wrong peer group. She would start being extremely defiant, disrespectful. Then she started running away, sneaking out, hiding things. Then I found out she was drinking wine coolers at the bus stop. I mean, all kinds of stuff was going on. We felt like we were walking on eggshells all the time. You feel like you're held hostage, like everything you did or said, she was going to explode.
So what were your first steps when you realized it was really out of control?
My first steps were finding therapy. We tried several therapists because she wasn't opening up, she wasn't relating, and it was difficult.
So you were cycling through therapists and not seeing any change,
right, on a hamster wheel. Correct.
Okay, so then what's the step where you get to where you're like, we can't manage this, we just don't know what to do?
Right. Well, we tried inpatient. I think a lot of people go through, let's put her in the hospital for a week, an adolescent hospital, or at least for a few days. We did the outpatient. Like I said, we did 5 different therapists, and my mother says, let me take her. I'm gonna, try to help you out, because no one really thought she was that bad. Until you live with this under your roof, no one understands it. So my mom took her for about 10 days, almost 2 weeks, and she calls me up and she says, you know what? You just need to find her help. The family is behind you. We're going to support you because, financially and emotionally, we're going to help you out. You need to get her help. And that was the turning point for us.
How did you go about finding the right program?
First, I hired an educational consultant because that was protocol. And every EC out there, educational consultant, they do want you to go into wilderness first. And I felt that wilderness was not the road for my daughter, who was already a depressed child.
So you had to trust your own instinct with some of the opportunities that were out there. Like I want to tell other parents that you might get into certain things, right? But you still, you know your kid best, and like that wasn't the way to go with that kid.
You need to trust your gut. You need to trust your intuition. And you have to be your child's advocate. I only had the EC for 1 hour. I didn't like what he was telling me, so I never went back to him again. I jumped online and I found all these programs that they were popping up no matter what I typed in: troubled teen, teen help, defiant teen, teen depression. The same group of programs was coming up over and over again. So I figured, well, they must be good to go to.
And did they work out well for your daughter?
No, we had a nightmare of an experience because everything they sold me on the phone was the complete opposite of what it was when we got there.
Sue's daughter, her story's a good story. It ends up well. The path that it took to get there was very troublesome, but it ends up well. Right. And so that made Sue an advocate. And coming out of that whole process, you decided you were going to help other parents so that they didn't have to go through what you went through.
I basically want parents to understand how to research school and programs, how to trust your gut, how to go out there and look for schools that are in the best interest of your child. It's just about educating yourself on this big business of teen help and understanding that it is a second opportunity at a bright future for our kids. Go to helpyourteens.com there, and you type in, does my teen need residential therapy? There's a whole list of questions there. Start asking yourself. See if you exhausted all your local resources.
So you send people to your website, they can get resources there, but what if they want that human contact? They want to hear all the things that you've learned over the years. Is there a way for them to reach out to you to get a consultation, and is there a fee associated with it?
There is no fee. I have myself and there's other parent advocates that are available to talk. You can fill out a form on my website and someone will call you. If you want the phone, you can put your phone number in there and an email, and then we'll email you back on. We have parent volunteers there that do call. So it's about parents helping parents, and they are other parents that had kids in programs. There's a lot of schools out there. You really need to know what you're looking for and how to figure out those red flags.
If you're listening and you want more information, you can join the over 100,000 families who have benefited from p.u.r.e's advice. Thank you, Scheff, for being here with us. And thank you for founding Parents Universal Resource Experts.